What that make you? Good? You're not good. You just know how to hide.
Man, you already know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. Happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. Much love to anybody that ever made that ultimate sacrifice for us in this country, and much love to all the families out there that may have had to deal with that along the way. So let's jump into some of the comments real quick before we even get started. Got a good live for y'all tonight. I was going to do this as a video. Started out, I'm not going to say cover all the escapes, but just talk on escapes and then get into some of the past and some of the more recent stuff going on, right? But I figured let's just do it live. See, we're doing it live. I've got, the way my setup is, I've got a monitor in front of me, a monitor here, and then a monitor here. It's a 3-monitor setup, right? Lights, whatnot, yada, yada, yada. To actually bring it to you live, I've got to go pull it up, go through the parts that I don't want to get copyrighted for, or you get struck down for bad words, and then pull it to this screen. But I'm just gonna do it all live. So we got, let me see. Y'all go ahead and pile in for a second while I get started on this. Terry Brown said, I'm ready to be entertained. I'm ready to entertain you. Ace Maxwell said, let's go. Well, let's go then. My guy Krupp, man. Krupp is always in the house. Much love to Krupp. Said, yes, sir. Got this notification early. I take it back. YouTube salute. Jay, glad to see this, man. Looking forward to it. Appreciate it, bro. Hey, much love, Krupp. John Hepburn said, popcorn, yellow striped smile, popcorn, yellow striped smile, and a whole lot of more popcorn, yellow striped smile. That's salute, man. I have to take a guess. One of the times you're going to mention is when you were in a transport van in Philly and the door swung open in the middle of the road. You know, that was one I've only talked about, I think, one time. And that's because I wasn't actually in the institution. I was being transported. And we were on the way to we were coming back from CJC, which is the Criminal Justice Center in Philly. That's where you go to court. And I'll just tell the story real quick if nobody's ever heard it before. We're riding in this van, right? There's these 2 black dudes driving, straight Philly dudes. And we're riding in the back of this van. And the gate already doesn't latch in the back. So the whole way, as soon as we got in it started clinking and clanking. So the guy comes around the back and he shuts the door, right? He shuts like this. There's a gate and then there's a door. So we're going through the city and we're hitting bumps, boom, 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 right? And the door pops open and the gate swings. And there's a bunch of us sitting in the back. And when I say a bunch, it's like 3 or 4 of us in the back. We just kind of look at each other. And all of us are going home relatively soon. None of us are, looking at no crazy time. So we're riding for a minute, and I think everybody had the same feeling. Like, there's freedom. They have no clue this door is open. Even though you got the shackles and all that on, we keep stopping. And when you're going through the city, it's stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. Stopping at stoplights, pedestrians, yada, yada, cars in front of you. And we just looked at each other for a minute until the dude was eventually like, hey, yo, the door opened, man. The door opened. And they're like, what? And you got to yell through like this little hole, this little grate that separates the back from the front. It's a metal wall with a little grate. And he said, the door open, the door open. So they pull over real quick. They come in the back and he's like, oh, shit. And he shuts the door. So we drive a little bit more. And I guess just them being like, thank you for not firing us. They stop on this little corner and they get out and they get us these pretzels. Philly's big on the pretzels and things like that, right? So they get us these big ass soft pretzels. Give each guy a pretzel, throw a pack of Newport, and a lighter in the back of the van, and they're like, make it disappear before we get back. Don't get caught trying to smuggle it in. But that was one of the times when, if I was really looking at some serious time, or any of the other guys have been looking at serious time, could have just, and then waddled off like a duck with the black box on. But thanks for bringing that up. And much love to Marcus G. So let me catch forward, man. Let me catch forward. How many people are in here? I'm always, okay, we're at 280. Kyle Ace said, man, excited for this one as well. This one, well, all of them, but Escape sounds crazy good. Yeah, we're going to get into some things tonight, man. What this dude say? World gone crazy. Oh, said, Jay done fell off, shaking my head. Well, I think in order for you to compare somebody that fell off, you'd have to be on. And I still do great numbers. Not posting doesn't mean you fell off. posting and doing terrible numbers means you fell off. But I respect your point of view all the same, man. And salute for checking in. Northwest, say yo, what up, though? Dante said, Jay, well, the comments come so fast. Man, I'd love to just sit here and answer all the comments all night, but I can't. I was thinking about this earlier, right? I think the first time that I ever seen the opportunity to escape was in the detention center. And where there's a will, there's a way with some places. Some places you just ain't going nowhere. This ain't no move. This ain't the escape plan with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Some places you just ain't going to get out of. It's that simple. But I'm in the detention center. And we used to go out, and at this point, they just had a single fence with one little teeny line of just barbed wire. And this was old barbed wire. It was sagging. It was nothing that the average 14-year-old couldn't scale in a matter of 5-6 seconds, right? So we're playing kickball. And we got our whole wing. I was on B2 at this time. It was B1, B2, then you had the girls' wing. B1, I think, was like 13 and under, which you had a whole wing of kids that were under the age of 13 locked up. And then 13 and older was B2. So we're playing kickball. And I'm way out. And they kick the ball, and the ball goes over the fence. So I take off running. There's like 2 guards out there. They're smoking cigarettes. You got to think this is the 90s. And they're just chilling. I run. I scale the fence. No thoughts into it. Just ball went over the fence. Go get the ball. First time in there. So I run, I jump over this fence, boom, I grab the fence. And I'm on the outside of the fence now. And there's an apartment complex, there's a main road, woods. There's so many places I could have went. And I run to get the ball, and I hear them screaming in the distance, stop, come here, come here. It's the guards. They're running in my direction. I take the ball, and I throw it back over the fence. And I climb back over the fence, and I'm back into the little juvenile detention center rec yard, right? Didn't dawn on me at the time what I had just done. I was young. Or how that could have ended very badly. But they didn't do anything to me. You know what I mean? They knew, like, I went to go get the ball. But it wouldn't be shortly after that I was in the gym. And they got these double doors, right? And the lock was broken. So I don't know what they had put on the outside of the door to kind of keep the doors from swinging. But you could see when you pushed the doors that it didn't connect. There was a gap about this big where you could see out of it. And it wouldn't be but, I don't know, man, a couple weeks, maybe a month later, a bunch of kids hit that door, boom, with their shoulder and ran off. My homeboy Jacob Aquino, Twin, he was another one that escaped from that same detention center. And shout out to Twin, man. Y'all make sure y'all write Jacob Aquino. He's doing all right. Hopefully comes home in a couple of years, finishing up a 36-year sentence. But there's been a bunch of times, man. I'm going to get into some more of the comments. Somebody said, why do you look like Mac Miller? Are you related? No, shout out to the late, great Mac, man. Jay Shapiro said, Vegas in this bit. What's good, Jay? What's good, Jason? Brandon Newman said, Jay, a shout out from Texas. Much love to you and Texas, man. William Sheets, Jay, have you ever thought about writing a book of your life stories? I have, and I've actually started several times. I talked to Joe Baker a while ago, and I know he's wrote one book. I want to say he's wrote a couple books, and he was like, just get a recorder and just talk into it. And I did that for a while, and then I actually started writing. It's just I've thought about it, just haven't gotten to it. Shungy Lungy, it's Big Shungy from Toledo, Ohio. Stand up. Hey, big salute. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe real quick. Hit the notification bell. Nathan Renfro said, I'm glad you're back, big dog. Been too long. Need a good story. And I got some good stories coming, man. It's just all in finding the time. Understand this. I'm never just sitting around on my hands not doing something. I'm always doing something. We've been having an issue with the pool as of lately where it's just not clear. So every day I'm out there. I'm doing this. I'm adding that. I'm vacuuming the pool. Like, I don't believe in paying somebody to do something I can do. I'm not about to have the pool boy out here just walking around like, I don't need somebody out here to do something I can do. But at this point, maybe I do. Because it's just not clear like it should be. There was another time. We're just going to get into some of my stories before I start sharing some of the screen and going over these current stories. So I get taken to I want to say, yeah, it was court. It was like 2008. My son was in the middle of like a custody case. One of my aunts was going to take custody of my son. And with that going on, he was with his mom at the time, but she was just trying to, do whatever she was doing. With me being the dad, I've got to appear in court for this custody case. So they show up at my cell door, probably 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they've got a yellow piece of paper, which is a summons, and they scared the shit out of me when they brought me this paper. I'm thinking I'm being indicted. Whenever they show up at your paper, with your door at such in the morning, and you've been locked up for several years already, and you're into your bid, and they've got new papers that are clearly court papers, first thing that comes to mind is an indictment. I'm going to jail. So, Williams, get up, come here, sign this paper. So I get up and I go there and I got to sign, acknowledge the fact that he gave it to me. And I get to looking at it and I'm like, this is for a custody case for my son. What is this about? And I start reading the names and the parties involved in it. And I'm like, all right, that morning or the following morning, they show up and they transport me. They take me from prison to the jail. And going into the jail as a DOC inmate, it was almost celebrity status. I'm sitting in booking with people that still smell like cigarettes and that still smell like the streets of McDonald's, and they're just greasy and grimy looking and just gritty, you know what I mean? Like that, fresh off the street, just got locked up, was not doing good in the real world. And here I sit, I've got this DOC jumpsuit on. Big old Department of Corrections jumpsuit on, bright orange. Run across a couple people I know, and hey, that's Jay, man. Jay got 10 years. What are you doing? And I got a custody case when it comes to my son, right? So let me turn this phone down real quick. It's going to get annoying real quick. So I do all that. I go through that whole process. And then they take me back to the prison. The officer that took me back to the prison was super, super cool. Like, cool-ass dude. Just too cool for school type dude. And it's hot. This is the middle of summer. It is hot in his cop car. So he pulls up, and I'm in the back, and you got the slider window in the middle. And I told him, I said, man, it's hot back here. It's hot. Like, when you're driving, the air is moving back there. But when you stop, it gets stagnant. I said, can you open the little slider window and let some of that cool air back here, like aim the vents back here, please? All I've got on is a set of handcuffs. I don't have the black box. I don't have any of that. I've got a single set of handcuffs. And it was a good ride, almost a 2-hour ride. So I'm cuffed in the front. This goes back into the times I could have escaped, right? And the man says, yeah, I got you. He said, I ain't got to worry about you going nowhere. If I leave this car running the AC on, I said, man, well, I got handcuffs on where I'm about to go. So before he can take me into the gates of the prison, he's got to check his firearm. He can't bring the firearm inside the prison. There's a box you go over. They give you a key. Actually, I think the key's hanging out. You put your firearm in there. You lock the box. You give the key to the officer inside the prison to the gate. And when you come back out, you get your firearm, whatever, right? He parks this car in a parking spot, this police car, in a normal parking spot. And he leaves that window cracked open to where it's big enough for me to get through. He gets out with his gun. He goes over. And I'm sitting there. And I'm looking at this car that's running. I look in the center console. There's his cell phone. There's his wallet. And there's keys. The car's on. It had been nothing. And one of the things that stuck out to me is there's his keys and there's another set of keys in the console. And I'm looking at the handcuff key in the console on that set of keys. Several times I leaned forward and it just got hotter than it was originally. And I think that was like the stress and just me knowing that freedom was right there. I could have climbed over that seat, unclicked those cuffs, put that car in drive, and drove off. And he'd have lost his job. There'd have been a manhunt. But here's the thing when it comes to escaping. I was telling somebody this earlier, right, when they asked me why I didn't ever escape if I had opportunities. And the moment you escape, unless you're already doing a life sentence or 20, 30, 40 years, your troubles have just got much worse. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to be in some type of jail or DOC issue clothing. So now you've got to get clothing. You've got to either contact somebody you know, which now you've made them accessory. Now you've turned someone that's potentially got no criminal history is now going to prison because they just aided and abetted and escaped, right? So you've got to come up with clothes. You've got to come up with money. You've got to come up with food. You've got to find somewhere to hide. You've got to get a car. All these things are potentially going to lead to you committing a lot more crimes. And nobody's just about to give you no car. So you're either going to steal one or you're going to carjack somebody. That right there is going to send you to prison for a lot longer. Money. Nobody's just giving you money, so you're either going to steal money or rob somebody. That's going to send you to prison for a whole lot longer. All the things you do while you're running It doesn't just say, well, you broke out of prison, you did all this and that, but we're only worried about what you did prior. That's not how this works. Everything you do, once you get free and you're on the run, they're going to stack those charges on you. Not to mention here in VA, it's an automatic 5-year sentence for the escape. Doesn't matter how you escaped, if it was crazy, not crazy, anybody got it. Doesn't matter. If you escape, it's an automatic another 5. So yeah, I didn't. I remember I sat back in the cop car just sweating bullets because I was so nervous about the thoughts going through my head. And then he came back, and he opened the door, and there I sat. We pulled in, and everything was good, man. Catch a couple more comments before we get into what's been going on. Alicia Harris, hey, thank you and big salute, man. Thank you. The West Coast said, much love and respect, sending California love. Hey, much love and respect to you, and much love to Cali all day. I love Cali. It's probably in my top 3 most favorite places I've been to, but definitely probably the number 1 most expensive place I've ever been to. Street Ross said, Jay Williams, do you have any stories about guys that kept coming back and forth? The prison that just ain't no hope for who did you come across the most in prison that kept coming back? My homeboy Lil Bubba. And shout out to him if he's watching, man. Much love to him. He has been back several times since I did that interview with him. Several times. And it's safe to say he's going back again. There were guys I met along the way that there was one guy in particular I remember that came back 3 times. 3 while I was on my 10-year bid. And that was at this place, the 3rd time he came back, I had only been down about 7 years. So I saw this guy return 3 times in the 7 years I was there. He's one of those guys that just, I guess he liked prison, man. I can't call it. There's a lot of those dudes. Some guys, this is going to sound sad, some guys are better in prison. They function better in prison than they do out here in the real world. Now, prison's nowhere you ever want to be. If somebody asked me to describe prison to them one time, like the best way to describe prison is like, it's like a nightmare, except you can't wake up. And then that nightmare shifts from being a nightmare to parts of the dream are okay, and then you're back in that nightmare. That's prison. You have anxiety from the moment that you get arrested, and you don't realize it until you leave, but the anxiety never fully goes away. At no point are you ever really, really comfortable. Like, and if you are comfortable, then you'll most likely come back. You get somewhat, I don't want to say content or complacent, but you get to just a state of living, if that works for you. But yeah, people stay returning, man. That's what prisons do. LC said, Jane fell off. Shit, he's taking care of what's important. We are lucky to see this man. Much love, brother. Hey, thank you, and big shout out to LC, man. Confusion TV, walk from hospital getting ready for cancer surgery. Damn, Friday. You're an amazing storyteller. Glad you turned your life around. Much respect. Well, much love to you, Confusion TV, and I'm gonna take a couple seconds just to wish you well, man. Good luck with everything you got going on, Confusion TV, man. I'm praying for you. It's crazy you said the hospital, right? We can get into one more story, and then we're gonna get some of these videos rolling. That would be the last time that a hospital visit would be the last time. No, it's not the last time. It was the second to last time. I got one more story from this time. The second to last time when I actually could have left. I got injured in the prison. I had to go to outside prison. They sent me to a place called Southside Regional. And then from there, I went to another hospital. So they sent me to this hospital. They do their procedure, blah, blah, blah. I done messed myself up lifting weights. I got a bilateral tear. I done ripped the pectoral muscle. I'm pretty messed up, right? So I've got to go underneath the knife. I've got to go into the hospital. And I remember coming in. The pain was so bad. It happened on the rec yard. Happened on the weight pile. The pain was so bad that I immediately I think I passed out from the pain, to be honest. you ever seen anybody pass out from pain? I legitimately passed out from the pain. Next thing I know, I remember seeing like the overhead lights in the hallway, like those bright neon fluorescent lights. They got me on the stretcher and they're wheeling me. And I remember my hand being handcuffed. I remember like trying to figure out what was going on. I looked at my hand, I saw the handcuff. Boom, I go back out. I don't know if they gave me medicine, if they gave me a shot, what they did. But the next thing I remember was waking up. And don't ask me why, what I'm about to say, but next thing I remember is I wake up and I'm in a hospital room. And there's a small TV on the wall, and there's some like infomercials playing at night, like you can buy this knife set now for such and such, such, such. Get it fast. The last one of those boring ass nights on TV, right? Now I remember laying there looking at it, and I guess I'm out from either the morphine or whatever they've got coursing through me after they did what they did. And I'm looking at it, and I move my hands, and my hands aren't cuffed. And I get up, and I slowly start staggering around the room. And I look at the door, and the door's cracked. And I go over, and I grab this door, and I open it. And I would expect it to be like the movies, like there's supposed to be an officer sitting there. Maybe he's in his sleep or something. I open the door, and I look around, and I don't see nothing. Remember that opening scene in The Walking Dead where he's just like, where's everybody at? Kind of one of those things, but I'm in a daze. I open this door, and I look around, and I'm like, huh. Now, I'm not in my right mind. I stumble down the hallway, and I get to these elevators. I push this button on the elevator. Elevator comes up to the floor. Get on the elevator, push the button. Elevator goes down to the lobby. I come out into the lobby, and I stand there for a minute, and now there's people. This is the emergency room lobby. Up there is like where you're going to go after surgery, and then you've got the lobby where it's kind of stuff going on all around you. And I'm looking at people moving all around and walking, and just people are living life. Here I am, a whole entire convict. I'm here from the state prison. I'm supposed to be on this floor, and got on this elevator. Guard, I think, was down there talking to a female, because that's what I believe happened, right? And I have reason to believe that because of things I've seen after this. But I remember standing there for a minute and realizing, like, the doors are right there. The double doors to freedom are right there. And I'm in my city now. So I can hit those doors and disappear. I should have brought something to drink. So I stand there for a second, and I look back at the elevator. The elevator door is still open. I get back on the elevator. I push the button. I go back upstairs. I go back into my room, and I lay back down. The opportunities present themselves. Like I said, I just ain't never had enough time that I'm going to take one of them. The last one before we move forward, man. So this last go round, I was at a couple different jails, right? But the main one that I was at before getting sent off to DOC was Pamunkey Regional. It's a regional jail. It's what it sounds like. And I get this job in the kitchen. Well, the kitchen dorm, I went from being in a cell block, a housing unit with cells everywhere and being in a cell with dude to being in an actual dorm. And the dorm life, I didn't used to like it. Now I'm cool with it. No more locked doors, that type of shit, right? But right across from this dorm is the door we go through to go into the kitchen. And when you come out our dorm, to the right is a roll-up door. It's like a door where a truck would back up to. It's not the biggest door in the world, but it's big enough to back up a box truck. There's a roll-up door right there, and then there's a single door where officers coming in and out or guys that are making deliveries coming in and out. Then you've got trash cans lined up. They're on wheels where everything that comes out the kitchen, the bags of trash go in there, and then a trustee takes them out to the dumpster. Then you've got all these milk crates. So I worked my shift in the kitchen one day, and we've got this newer guard. He's definitely a rookie. Working the kitchen, just walking around making sure everything's going right. I finished cooking. Now I've got to help. I've got to clean up my station. When I'm done cleaning up the cook area, I've got to go help other guys. You don't just stand around, they'll send you back, and I don't want to go back. So we take this trash, we bag it up, and we take it out in the hall, and we sit there where there's all these milk crates stacked up. And I'm with a homeboy of mine named Nevi. Well, shout out to Nevi. Hope to see you when you get home, man. So these milk crates are everywhere. And they've been stacked up to the point now that they're falling over. You can't walk by these things or bump them. They're going to fall everywhere. I mean, you know how big a milk crate is. These things are now stacked 6, 7 high, right? Way too big for what should be stacked there. We're getting ready to go back in the kitchen, and the rookie's like, hey, y'all help me grab these milk crates to get these milk crates out the way, man, and put them outside on the dock. And I look at my homeboy, and I look at him like, has this dude lost his mind? Now, outside this jail, they put jails in the middle of nowhere. 9 times out of 10, except like the jails I've been in Philly that were all state road, those were close to the interstate, but most jails in the middle of nowhere. And outside this jail, you've got a small river that runs beside it, and then in front of it is just fields, like to the right of where this loading dock is. And I remember looking at this guard, right? And looking at my homeboy, who still ain't had court. I done been sentenced. He don't know what he's facing this time. And I remember we looked at each other and looked at him. And he said, hey, y'all help me get these crates and put them outside. And just like that, he pulled out his keys and click, 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 couple twists, and the door was open. He rolled up this big bay door. And for the first time since I got locked up, I'm looking at like freedom. I can smell fresh air. And yes, the temptation is there. The human in you desires freedom. It craves freedom. It craves to just do what people do, right? So I pick up some of the crates. I walk out in the loading dock, and this guard smoked a lot. He always smelled like he had that pack of cigarettes with the half put out cigarette in it. You know that guy? He always smelled like he had a half smoked cigarette on him. So we go out on the dock, and we're stacking these crates up, and sure enough, he lights up a cigarette, pulls out his phone, and he's scrolling on his phone. I look at him again, and I look at this field, and I can remember everything that went through my mind. The field, the stuff is so tall in the field. It's like one of those movies. Once you go through it, all you're going to see is stuff moving on the top. You could disappear into it. And then there's this river on the other side where if you hit the river, you just follow the current and take it downstream. But instead of that, go in the opposite direction because they're going to expect you to go downstream. I didn't do none of that. I don't have no great escape story, but I remember just standing there and we finished stacking them. He's like, all right, let's get back inside. I said, well, can I catch some fresh air for a minute? I ain't been outside in a few months. Yeah, go ahead. Take a few months. I'll finish my cigarette. And he finished smoking and we went back in. And that was the last time that any opportunity like that presented itself. Adam Edwards, yeah, you still going to do the true crime stories? I've been waiting for that a long time, bro. What's up with that? Yes, indeed. I've actually picked up a lot of stuff along the way in the last few months to put together for the true crime look for what I've had planned. And I've been looking into cases that aren't media, like aren't mainstream, that a lot of people don't know about. So, yeah, absolutely. Y'all give me 1 second. I need to adjust something real quick. I see the trolls in here and they're having fun. So we're going to do something just to go ahead and put them in position to just not be irritating tonight. Let's see. A lot of people have been covering the escapes lately. A lot of people. And After Prison Show, shout out to Joe from After Prison Show. He's been following the guys, I believe, out of Louisiana, the 10 that just escaped. He's been doing a great job, man. Y'all give me 1 second. Gotta put this on subscriber only. Sometimes they just don't act right. There we go. There we go. Don't go anywhere. Just making a couple little changes. All right, so first things first. I started looking into the escapes that have been taking place, right? And for the most part, everybody just thinks it's the 10 guys that escaped from Louisiana with the 5 that have been captured, 5 still on the run, when that couldn't be further from the truth. When I first heard about this case, let me see if we can pull up a picture of the guys that had escaped. These guys right here. Share screen. So when I first heard about this, I told someone else that I was talking to, right, that I did not feel like this was just something they did by themselves. Now, let me say why I say this, right? These guys escaped through the back of a toilet. There is no possible way that you can move those toilets without getting water everywhere. I work maintenance. One of the things I did was I spent a lot of time in those little closets, right? You're not about to pull that toilet away from the wall without that line that feeds that toilet, spraying water everywhere. And usually the lines are only like this long. They're made like that for a reason, so that if you were to try to move the toilet, the line is going to break. So when I seen the whole toilet pulled away from the wall, these guys that ran off, yada yada yada, I knew that it was more to it than what they were leading on, right? And to date, they've caught 5 of them. 5 guys have been caught as of late, right? Understand this. At this point, they're trying to outlive the media attention that is currently taking place. That's what they've got to do. It's not so much they do have to evade the police, they do have to evade capture, but the longer they can stay free, the better chance they have of staying free. As of right now, their faces are all over the TV. You can't turn on YouTube without seeing something about this. Everybody's covering it. Everybody's talking about it. And their faces are everywhere. You fast forward 6 months, it's not going to be being talked about like that. The news is going to go back to normal. Now, if somebody gets captured, of course, they'll cover it again. That's one of the biggest things with these type of things. You've got to escape the camera. You've got to now escape social media. Yes, the cops are looking for you. Yes, there's this manhunt. But after a certain amount of time, it starts to die down. The fact that 5 of them are still on the run doesn't shock me. It doesn't surprise me. If you've got a network of people, and you better believe any and everybody who knows these guys has been questioned about what's going on. But it's going to take some type of a network. You're going to need to have people around you to help you. If you can do it on your own, when you're built like that, then kudos to you. I just don't really foresee that happening. Then you've got this other guy, right? Which is definitely one of the crazier ones I've seen as of lately. Let me pull him up. This guy used to be a cop. He worked in all types of different police departments, and he gets arrested. This guy actually pulls up on a guy that's sitting in his truck and opens fires on him, takes his life. He was sentenced to, I believe, former police chief. Let's pull this guy up. All right, right here we've got, messing with the layouts, give me a second. Right here we've got Grant Harden, right? This guy right here. And it reads, former police chief serving murder and sentences escapes from Arkansas prison. This dude made a uniform, concocted a whole entire uniform that he was then able to put on and walk himself up out of there. They haven't gotten into a lot of the details of how this happened, but he's gone. It's been 5-6 days, I want to say now, he's been gone, and nobody knows where he's at. They say Harden pleaded guilty in 2017 to first-degree charges in connection with the pow of 59-year-old James Appleton. According to an affidavit filed in the case, Appleton worked for the Gateway Water Department and was taking his brother-in-law, then Gateway Mayor Andrew Tillman, when he was in the head, February 23rd, 2017. Here's the crazy part about this, right? They give this man right here 30 years in prison. Then they turn around and they give him another 50 for something that took place in 1997, a grape that took place in 1997 of a school teacher. Enough with that. Enough giving him any shout outs, any type of recognition. So in 97, I read this story earlier, right? This man overpowers a school teacher and he does the unthinkable, and she survives. For the longest time, they have no clue. They collect evidence, DNA, samples. They said that after he was done, she took the stuff and she wiped it on her sweatshirt, and that by doing that, she was able to preserve his DNA, right? So then he gets knocked off for this this new case, which they gave him the 30 years for. They run the DNA again. It comes back that this guy that was once a servant, man, somebody that was supposed to serve, was responsible for it. So he got 30 years with another 50 years on top of it, and he is now running free in the world. Now I want y'all to look at this, right? Prison escapes in America, how common are they? And what's the risk? That's a dumbass. The prison escapes in America part, I get. How common are they and what's the risk? What do you mean? What's the risk? Well, because then got free and you talking about what's the risk? Didn't y'all just hear about the last guy we just talked about? Like, I'm pretty sure the risk is everything that's got him where he's at. Now, this one starts off, this is from 2023, this article was. After the recent high-profile escape of a convicted from Pennsylvania jail, some have raised concerns about the effectiveness of law enforcement community safety. But what level of concern? This is why I edit. This is the stuff y'all don't see. What level of concern should the public genuinely have? Well, considering that a lot of the guys that have escaped here recently and in the past few years had terrible, terrible charges, and they've now got nothing to lose, nowhere to go but back to prison or to the graveyard, everybody should be concerned. Let's back this up. Let's back this up. How many prisoners escape each year in the U.S.? Oh, y'all just not going to show me that, huh? There we go. The phenomenon of prison escape is not new in the U.S. In fact, it's been happening since the inception of modern prison systems. Y'all see me reading that? Inception. Good word. Some of the most famous cases from prison breaks date back to the 20th century. 1962, an escape took place at the infamous Alcatraz prison. Everybody knows about that. In 1983, two convicted escaped from the maximum security prison Attica in upstate New York, taking hostages and a corrections officer. History of prison escapes in the U.S. is a bleak one and still haunts law enforcement officials. Now, we had, for anybody that's familiar with this, we had a group of guys here in Virginia that was before my time, right? This was back in the 80s, named the Briley brothers, who escaped from an institution called Mecklenburg. It's just Mecklenburg Correctional Center. And this escape led to, I want to say, the loss of 11 lives. Where these guys legitimately took a gurney, put I think it was a computer and a couple other things underneath the sheet, took hostages inside the prison, guards and whatnot, and it convinced the guys at the tower and the gate that they had a bomb. And by now they've taken the hostages' uniforms, they've put them on, and they've contacted the tower under the pretense that they are prison guards and that they've got this bomb that they've just discovered that they have to get outside the prison. Right? You following me? They would then go on to put this into a transport vehicle and drive right out the gate. That in turn led to this big manhunt. Two of the Briley brothers would ultimately be put to death in the execution chamber, and one is now a senior citizen somewhere in the system. But that answers the question on, is it safe, or what should the public fear anything? I don't know if anybody here from Philly remembers this, but this would have been, I want to say, it was 1999 when I was locked up, and someone had escaped from somewhere, and they were telling the public, it was on the news, to keep your doors locked, don't let anybody in. And it was storming one night, and an old man ended up taking the life of his son during this thunderstorm. He heard banging, he heard commotion, and his son had left out the house and was locked out, was trying to get back in, and the old man ended up shooting him in the middle of the night, right? So yeah, it's definitely a dangerous situation. It's like this. It's like that. Say you got a really bad dog, bad dog, and he gets off the leash. He's gonna run. That dog is gonna run and run and run, and every time you try to get him, he's gonna run some more. Why? Because he doesn't want to be put back on the leash. I've dealt with that. I remember there were certain institutions I sat in and I looked around, just like, how do you get out of here? How do you get out of here? Would I have gone anywhere if the opportunity had presented itself? There were times, I guess, my mind state was, you need to get home, you need to get free. And then there's other times where it's like, it's not worth all that. It's not. I seen a guy that had less than a year take off one time and hit the fence. That's what we call it, hitting the fence. He took off and he hit the fence in the middle of the night. He was supposed to be putting these mop heads outside to dry on a sidewalk. Less than a year. And they found this man tangled up upside down in the razor wire. The guards are out there with their phones out taking pictures of him, laughing at him. And I remember it made sense to me for him to try to run until I heard he had less than a year. That's when everything's about to get real, man. It's about to get really real. Then you had this dude from Philly. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was last year, that was from somewhere else, right? Hold on, let me look him up. Because I hate misquoting things, right? You pull up Philly and escapes, and just all types of stuff starts popping up. I don't know if y'all seen it. There's a dude that climbs a wall, right? He's straight like Spider-Man the wall. Put his feet out. Here he goes. Let's do this real quick. All right, we got this guy right here, right?
Breaking right now at 4 o'clock, the search is on for a convicted murderer who escaped from a Chester County prison. Hundreds of officers are working right now to find 34-year-old Danilo Cavalcante. He was last seen this morning on Wawasset Road in Pocopson Township, putting communities in that area on high alert. It is Thursday afternoon. I'm Brian Taft.
And I'm Shari Williams.
What up, Brian Taft?
In for Sarah. The big story on Action News is the extensive search happening right now in Chester County. It was just last week that Cavalcante was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his former girlfriend. Now authorities are doing everything.
I hear some backdrop on this, right? This dude that took the life of somebody else, right? And then tells his girlfriend about what he had done. She then threatens to, I guess that relationship ain't going too good. He's somebody that takes people's lives. He's probably not all there. She then threatens to tell what he told her. So in order to cover up the first body he caught and keep her from blabbing her mouth about it, he takes her life.
They can to get him back behind bars.
Action News reporter John Paul live in Pocopson Township now. And John, we understand things have gotten rather active behind you in the last few minutes.
Correct. Yeah, Brian, Shari. So just in the last maybe 5 minutes, I saw 3 heavily armed law.
That boy got the Eddie Monster haircut. Tell me that ain't the Eddie Monster haircut. That's the Forrest Gump, 100%. The Batman signal, the McDonald's arches, like, and a joint high and tight.
Enforcement members. I mean, I'm talking full combat gear walking over this hill. They went down that way. We also see a drone. There have been 2 helicopters that have come over. To give you an idea where I am, I'm about a quarter mile from the prison where this escape happened this morning. In fact, I'm on Wawasett Road. That was the last place that he was seen walking down this very road at around 9:40 this morning. We've seen some state troopers going over that hill. We really can't see much over that hill.
It's got
Just a lot of law enforcement head over that way. Now, they're looking for a man they describe as a ruthless killer. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole for stabbing his girlfriend 38 times in.
He has a reason to run. His escape makes all the sense. Life in prison without parole. Life. Never going home. No possibility. And his crime is so heinous. 38 times. Like, you did that. She's done. She's not telling nobody. Like, he had reason to run.
Front of his children. That happened in 2001. He was waiting to be transferred to a state facility after being convicted just last week. That's when he escaped. The DA saying this man has nothing to lose. It's Danilo Cavalcante. He escaped from the Chester County Prison around 9 o'clock this morning. The 34-year-old is 5 feet tall, 120 pounds, shaggy black curly hair, brown eyes. When he escaped, he was wearing that T-shirt, gray shorts, and white sneakers. And as I mentioned, there was a confirmed sighting on the road that I'm standing on around 9:40 this morning.
All right, enough of him, man. Enough of him. 38 times. 38 times. Stop it. Stop it. Philly stays having somebody just gone. Here's another dude, right? Check these dudes out.
Live now, look there in Philadelphia. We have some major. Major breaking news we want to bring to you of a story that we have been following really all week. Take a look at this. This is what we are learning right now, that one of those 2 inmates right there who escaped from a Philadelphia prison last week and was taken into custody by federal authorities, 24-year-old Nasser Grant, was arrested.
That's a place I've done time at. That is, what you're looking at there is CFCF. I believe that's CFCF on State Road, right? It's a very, very big jail. A lot of inmates. Crazy place to be locked up. Philly's just a crazy place to be locked up in general. But
by U.S. Marshals tonight in the city's Strawberry Mansion neighborhood. That's according to sources in 2 Fox 29 Philadelphia. So this is what we know. Prisons Commissioner Blanche Carney told reporters that the duo, remember, missed 3 head counts before prison guards realized they were missing on Monday afternoon.
How do you miss 3 head counts? Everywhere I've ever been, they come through randomly and they lock everybody down, right? This is what a head count is. This is to make sure that everybody that's supposed to be there is still there. That no one has, what's that word we're looking for? Escaped. So they come by and they've got a pad. And the first officer will say, I got 2 in cell 1. Next officer, yep, 2 in cell 1. 1 in cell 3, yep, 1 in cell 3. All right, there's a hole in the wall in cell 4, nobody in there. Yep, nobody in cell 4. Whatever the case may be, right? They do these head counts to accommodate, not to accommodate, to make sure everybody is accounted for. 3 different counts. Nobody noticed they were gone. Do you know what that was? Because officers aren't doing their jobs. They're not doing their jobs. They're so used to, it's never a problem until it's a problem, right? Like nothing's wrong until something's wrong. They're used to just walking around and everybody being there. So they're just like, how many are we supposed to have in here? 150 inmates? There's 150 here. Not knowing 2 are gone. Back at it.
Grant and 18-year-old Amin Hurst sprung themselves free from the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center around 8:30 p.m. on
My bad. They were at PIC. They were not at CFCF. They were at PIC.
Sunday night. So sources told Fox 29 Philadelphia that holding cell doors and a door to an outside recreation yard were left open. The prison guard union claims that perimeter posts that's been left unmanned for months due to budget cuts may have aided both Hearst and Grant's escape, while the city said it, quote, categorically denies those claims. So it seems like there is some type of competing claims there with the union that represents some of these.
There's actual video of this, man,
and the city of Philadelphia.
Of these two guys escaping. Let's pull the video up. And then you see a guy in the video, if you want to go back and look at this afterwards, that's in the pod. It kind of just stands there as like, look out. And when it talks about the people that were charged with their escape, he was hit with escape charges. Or let me rephrase that, with aiding them. Remember, this is why I said it's always best to do the editing, but here we go.
A Philadelphia Correctional Center has come under close scrutiny after 2 inmates managed to escape the facility back in May, and it was all caught on surveillance. The newly released video shows the actual moment the 2 inmates walked out of their cells at the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center and crawled through open parts of the prison to avoid detection.
All right, people always ask questions like, how are you able to get your cell door open? I've been in places where you could put a toothbrush. These doors, they slide, right? They're on a slider. There's a motor up in the box. And you can literally take a toothbrush cap and put it in the track of the door, and that makes it to where the door does not secure. You can then grab that door and start jerking it, and it's almost secure enough to the point that it sends a signal to the officer in the control booth or wherever they're sitting at saying the door is closed. And then you have so many doors that have been tampered with over time that the guards will walk by and just grab the door to see if it seems closed and keep it moving, even though it shows it's not fully secured, right? With putting the toothbrush cap in there, it creates enough gap for you to put your fingers in the track and snatch the door wide, all the way back. That's what that does. The last Nottoway I was at, people were sticking bars of soap up in the top of the door. And then it would do the same thing. The motor would run for a moment, it would get hot, and it would shut off. And this little gear on this motor, it's just got this little Carter key in it. It's just got a little pin in it. So if you snatch it enough, it's going to break the gear and allow the gear to move freely, and then you can slide the door back and forth. Sometimes somebody else might break the door, and they just put you in the cell and house you in that cell, and maintenance is supposed to fix it, but who knows how long that's going to take. All right, see this guy right here? This guy right there? That guy would later be charged. You see what he's doing? He's got shower stuff in his hands. He's got his shower shoes on. That man's just coming back from the shower when everything pops off, but he would later be charged.
Action News reporter Andy McCormick has more on the security lapses and employee errors revealed in a follow-up report.
District Attorney Larry Krasner said today that he's not able to release all of the details because of an ongoing investigation, but during a city council hearing today, he released pictures and video showing
Let's see the video.
men escaping.
Let's see the video.
It will start.
Look, and they got the swing doors, same thing. They have a plunger lock.
Pushing their doors.
These doors at PIC have the plunger lock. And you see the red light, there's a red light on top of the door showing it's secured, right? For some doors. Some of those lights don't even work. But they've got the plunger lock. And the way that works is a little thing when they push the button or you close it, it latches like a regular house door. Then they push a button, it energizes it, and it opens it. If you were to put something in that so it can't close all the way, you can stick a toothbrush, you can stick a hair comb, anything you want that's small enough to fit in that gap to just wiggle a little bit and the door will pop open. You even pack them with tissue sometimes.
Open.
New insight into the May prison escape from the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center by Amin Hearst and Nasir Grant. The two jimmied their cell doors to keep them unlocked. Hearst was awaiting trial for 4 murders, and Grant.
Did y'all notice something? Hold on real quick. I want you to notice something.
Grant was jailed on gun and drug charges. Hearst was awaiting trial for 4 murders, and Grant was jailed on gun and drug charges
Back this
by
up.
Amin Hearst and Nasir.
Side of your screen.
The 2 inmates managed to escape the facility.
Side of your screen, pushing.
Right there. Look at this. You just saw him come out the door, right? See that red? Red means stop. That means the door is locked. That means the door is secured. That means if a guard was to look at it, it shows that the door is closed. If you look over here at the door he just came out of, it's still showing red. It's still showing the door secure. So no, they had no clue.
their doors open.
New insight into the May prison escape from the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center by Amin
The boy
Hurst
got
and
low.
Nasir Grant. The two jimmied their cell doors to keep them unlocked. Hurst was awaiting trial for 4 murders, and Grant was jailed on gun and drug charges.
The escape occurs when the relief finally shows up.
Homeboy should have just went with him. He got charged afterwards anyway. He should have just went with him.
That relief goes to sleep.
District Attorney Larry Krasner shared the details during this morning's hearing held by City Council's Committee on Public Safety. In addition to the sleeping guard, external motion detectors were not operating and head counts were not completed. This cut fence the prisoners crawled through and staff knew about.
Somebody cut the fence. Stop with the somebody cut. Chain link fences ain't just breaking. Somebody cut the fence.
It days before. City Council member Sharon Vaughn introduced a resolution over the matter.
It's very important that maintain. It doesn't give.
Blanche Carney stated they represents critical conditions and there no confidence vote of Carney.
A federal judge already, Carney asked for the State Department of Corrections to.
All right, enough of that. We could go on and on and on and on with videos of escapes just all day long. But what we can get into is the most recent with the Louisiana. In case you haven't, if you type it up, it's one of the first things that comes up with Louisiana. And all you see is captured, 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 captured. Dun, 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 dun. This is where editing comes into play. A lot of people's, why does it take so long to do this and do that? This is why. This is why. One second, man. 1 second. Check these dudes out, man. Check these dudes out. What you're seeing right now, they're going into the cell. This is the cell where they're going to get out of. And just like I told you, you snatch the door and you can break the gear. I've seen it done. I've done it. We had a dude named Tank at the last place I was at, right? Second to last place I was at. That they would fix his door and he would break it. And he was such a big dude, the guards would be, you need to lock down, you need to lock down. He would break his door. Look, he's rocking it. That's one of the ones that's on the track. He's going to break the motor. And once you break the motor, you can slide the door freely. That's all he's trying to do right now is get that little pin in that gear to snap. And once that pin snaps, or he makes that gear roll back enough, you can create a gap big enough to get in. This ain't his first rodeo. By no means. Now think about this, right? Those doors are that easy. Like, you can literally get in, you can get out if need be. Imagine that you're locked up and you and this guy got problems, right? And this guy wants to get at you and you're in that cell. And this guy's on the outside of that door, shaking that door, coming in that cell. Look, that boy's working. That boy's move, man. Move your weak ass out the way. Move, move, move. I'm going to push it while you rock it. Come on. Come on. Too easy. That's what they said. Too easy. Look. Jackpot. 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 Now, look at this. This dude right here. See this dude? Back up again. Let it play. That dude right here getting ready to jump off the dock in the orange. You see what he's got in his hands? For people that haven't done time or don't understand, you got the dude getting ready to jump off, then the guy back here in the blue hat, right? Both of them got stuff in their arms. Blankets. That razor wire will fillet your ass. But where there's a will, there's a way. I always used to think to myself, somebody wanted to leave, all they got to do is take a mat out there and throw a mat on the fence, throw one of these bed mats up there and go right over the mat. But if you could throw enough stuff in that fence, I always thought you could throw some up there and grab the razor wire and jerk it down, or put something up there to where you can actually climb over it that creates a layer between you and the fence. You're good. You're good. And that's exactly what old boy's doing right here. He's got he's ready to go. He's got the blankets, gonna throw them in the fence once they hit the fence, and they're out. Look, that's a lot of damn dudes, man. They done let half the pod out. Half the pod's gone. This is crazy. This is where it gets crazy, right? So the jail is directly beside the interstate, like right next to the interstate. And midway to the left of your screen, right about here, you see the dudes coming out. Straight across the interstate. Straight across the interstate. All lanes of, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lanes of traffic them boys just ran across. 10 lanes of traffic them boys just ran across. Somebody said there's 3 states. Mr. Start, but love from England, Jay. Hey, much love to Keith and Spud the Roddy, man. And some of these guys are still free right now. They caught a bunch of them right off the rip in the first few days, right? The first few days are the most, if you're going to escape, are the most crucial. You've got to get outside of pretty much a search area. They're searching high and low. Every cop in that city has got a hard on for you at the moment. Every deputy, doofy, probation officer, fired cops, retired cops, freshly hired cops, they're all looking for you, right? So you've got to get outside of that initial seeing your face on the news every day. If I turn on the news at 6 o'clock and I'm just not Jay, I'm just a regular everyday, I'm going to tell on somebody, which ain't my thing. But if I'm that guy and at 6 o'clock I see your face pop up on the news, then I go to the store to grab something at 6:15, I see somebody looks just like the guy I saw at 6. The chances of somebody telling on you are very high. You've got to outlive those pictures, those news articles, your face being on the news every day. You've got to get outside of the area of where people are constantly, because you better believe Louisiana news ain't showing. In New Orleans right now, if the news comes on, this is going to be aired, right? So you've got to get outside of the moment of them constantly showing your face. The majority of these dudes, from what I understood, got caught within a 10-mile radius. Some of them were like a mile or two away from the jail. But I think almost every one of them that's been caught so far was within 10 miles of the jail. This ain't the movies. You got to really have a plan. Some of these guys didn't even have that much time. Some of these, and the first thing that came to my mind was these had to all be young boys. These had to be 19, 20, 21-year-old, just, man, I'm about to get back out there. I know my girl doing something she shouldn't be doing. Man, I'd have left the pack at my homeboy's house. I need to get back on it. Like, that was the first thing that came to my mind. But then I got to looking at it. You got one dude that's in his 40s. Not only is not going over that fence at 40 ain't just the easiest task in the world, unless you locked up, usually in pretty good shape. But at 40-some years old, like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Lay it down. Do your time. If you cannot do the time, do not do the crime. You know the saying. Come on now. Let's jump into some comments real quick, man. I'm put a little music on. It's real quiet in the studio tonight. It's real quiet in the studio tonight. Y'all give me a second. Let me put some of this StreamYard acoustics on. What we got? Let's do another one, man. Let's show you some more. This one. This one was a whole different ball game right here. I'm glad I found this. Let's pull this up real quick. I got to share this. So let me get a little backdrop. This says escaped prisoners take selfies, video during nationwide manhunt. Now this is a while ago. This is years and years ago, right? It's the crazy just released video footage of a prison break shot by the escaped inmates themselves. And one gives thumbs up when he makes it through. 3 inmates escaped from the Central Men's Jail in Santa Ana, California, sparking a nationwide manhunt. Let's just do it. Let's just show it. This guy right here, he's super happy. Super happy. He's ready to go. Check him out.
You are watching a prison inmate escaping from his cell through the air vent. And he gives a thumbs up when he makes it through. It's the crazy just released video of a prison break shot by the escapees themselves.
The first time I saw this, I thought it was fake. I 100% was like, man, this ain't real. You had videos of them prior to escaping, talking about it, laughing, joking, like, look at me.
A frantic manhunt in Southern California after 3 inmates charged with violent crimes escaped an Orange County jail.
It happened in January 2016. What we didn't know then was the men had the nerve to document their escape on a cell phone that had been smuggled in.
We had a duffel bag and a backpack full of stuff.
The video was released by the lawyer for the ringleader, Hussein Nayeri. It's been skillfully edited. They even added their own musical score. The men sawed a leg off a bunk and then cut a hole in the air vent, allowing them to crawl inside the prison's interior walls. With the theme from Mission Impossible playing, you can see them using a ladder made from rope and bed sheets. One inmate proudly poses with his handiwork. Iron bars block their access to the roof, but one has been sawed through. They're out, finally making it to the roof. They're so cocky they take a moment to pose for another celebratory photo.
Man, that boy stopped and did the prison pose. That boy stopped and did the prison pose right on top of the roof. Check him out. Out this bitch, man.
They then rappelled down 5 stories using high-grade rope that they had somehow smuggled into the prison. Once clear of the prison, the men abducted a cab driver and forced him to drive them north 400 miles to San Francisco, where they behaved more like tourists on a road trip than escaped fugitives.
Friday night in San Francisco.
In the video, they show off their hideout, a stolen van packed with bedding and supplies.
What?
Y'all just seen that man on the beach. Like, he didn't even care if he got caught.
All the basics.
Their jaunt didn't last long. The men were captured after 8 days on the run and returned to prison.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. That man busted the selfie on top of the prison roof, man. And then hit him with the I'm on the beach, bitch. All that, Leon said, all that just to, yes, all that just to get caught again. How you gonna take a picture? Hey, this is what I look like now that I escaped. This is what I look like in my street clothes. This is what I look like on the beach. Now you gave them an exact location of where your dumb ass was. Like they can't cross-reference that bridge in the background, that pier. Sunday best at 8 days, 10 more years, man. Philo Speaks said, I would have been in Cuba, LOL. I don't know, man. Cuba has some rough moments. I think some of those guys would rather be in American jails than in Cuba. Let's do this again, man. Let's do this again. There's so many different just inmate just I know ain't no monetization on this video. They done played Rocket Man in the background and all. There's just everything. Is this the one? I think this is the one. They had one where dude pretended to be hurt. Anybody seen this? And he was in a wheelchair. And the moment the guard wasn't looking, he jumped out the wheelchair. Oh, this is it. This is it. Check homeboy out, man. Check homeboy out. Look, he's got the whole get up on, the neck brace. And you know he's being pushed by a guard just from the watch. Check him out.
One of Delgado's shoes has come off, and the deputy begins to look for it.
Hey, you see the shoe back there? Where is it?
The deputy finds the missing shoe under the wheelchair, hands it back to him, and continues to the courthouse door. But Delgado has no intention of attending this hearing.
Oh, I'm fast as fuck, boy. I'm fast as fuck, boy. So your ass is fired.
Oh, I'm gonna catch you, man.
Hey, you heard him? He said, I'm gonna catch you, man. I'm gonna catch you. Your ass gonna look dumb.
Delgado, who's not handcuffed or restrained due to his alleged injuries, jumps up from the wheelchair, leaves his shoes behind, and leaps over the railing. And in a seemingly miraculous recovery from his injuries, Delgado bolts from the courthouse at top speed.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle. I can move again. My neck is miraculously healed. My arm feels better. And them shower shoes, I'm gone. Fastest boy.
Oh, I'm gonna catch you, man. I'm gonna shoot your bitch ass.
Stop. That man said, let's come on.
Delgado ditches his neck brace along the way.
I ain't got my radio.
Without his walkie-talkie, the deputy cannot call for backup. So he continues pursuing Delgado, who seems to have vanished.
Hey, can you call the police for me? Call the police for me. Hey, call the police. Call the police.
Hey, he ain't got no radio. That man ain't got no radio. He ain't got no cell phone. He's yelling to a civilian, call the police for me. He said, I'll shoot your bitch ass. Stop. Stop. I can't.
Police, what way it go? This way?
He done ran back to his favorite bar.
Hey! You got your phone? Damn.
The deputy borrows a mobile phone from a bystander to call in for backup.
The wheelchair dude got up and ran.
Hey, what do you do when that happens, man? If you're that guard, what do you do when that happens? Do you call into the jail and tell her, hey, man, dude, the dude in the wheelchair I came out with earlier with the neck brace on, the broken arm, and the shooter kept falling off? Yeah, that bitch gone. I don't know where he's at. Or do you just call in and quit? I think I'd have just quit. I think I'd have just put the keys underneath the van seat, called and told him, I quit, man. I quit. I can't do this, man. Y'all gonna have me on YouTube getting laughed at.
Yeah. I couldn't catch his ass. And my video was in the road. I had my camera on, though.
And then returns to the scene of the crime.
Hey, he took off, man.
Damn right he took off.
Ran. He had a neck brace on and all that shit.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Didn't need that wheelchair very much, did he?
No.
When the sheriff's department transport van comes back around the corner, the deputy retrieves his radio and tells his colleague what happened.
No.
Dude ran, man. Yeah, where's my radio? Yes, he did.
What you mean he ran? The bitch couldn't even walk. He can't walk. How do you run? He can't walk. How what? You got to be the stupidest mother.
Yeah. What? He took off? Yeah, right straight up this street. Nah, he gone. There was nothing wrong with it. He had a brace on, you couldn't catch him. His shoe had came off.
He had a brace on. You couldn't catch him. They just hire anybody. Sloppy body, out of shape, built ass.
He went down to get his shoe. He just ran. What's it called for? Yeah. Should have had cuffed him to the wheel.
Why the driver laughing? Should have handcuffed him? Why the driver laughing?
Department policy does not require inmates in wheelchairs be restrained if their injuries prevent.
Had a neck brace. He should have had a hat on. He got the drop top. Dang, he got the reverse mohawk.
it, but they must be escorted at all times. 2.5 hours later, Delgado was recaptured and arrested about 7 miles from the courthouse.
Damn, that boy was busy, man. Give it up for Delgado. I don't know if you got bad charges, Delgado. I'm glad you're back in custody. But hey, damn, that boy. I'm fast as boy. Come on, let's do this one more time. Let's do this one more again. He said, I'll shoot your bitch ass. I'm gonna catch you. No, you're not. I'm gonna catch you. Yo, excuse me, man. Check these dudes out. 4 inmates escape from Georgia jail. From Georgia jail. Here they go. Here they go. And I want y'all to understand, it's not this easy. They just, I don't know, man. It's another hole in the fence. It's another hole in the fence. How they got all these holes in the fence? That's it, they gone. They gone. Look, look, look. No, sir, I'm coming with you. No, sir, I'm coming with you. No, sir. Gone. Gone. Hold up. Hold up. No, hold up. Hold up. He had no friends. He just decided to come along afterwards. They ain't even invite him. Stop it. Stop it. AZ Kelly said, Jay, I'm glad you're smarter than that. They always get caught. You can get away. I do believe you can get away and you can stay free for a certain amount of time, but that ain't no type of way to live life, man. Not at all. Like, you can go to another country and live, you can do this and that, but who's trying to look over their shoulder the whole life? What happens when you look? I told my son this, right? My oldest son, and shout out to Isaiah, right? I told him this when he was little. I knew I had court coming up, and I knew that I was doing double digits. I went to court knowing that I'm going to do at least a decade. I'm going to prison for minimum 10 years. My lawyer, I think my first plea deal they came at me with was 27 years. I fired that lawyer. Quick fact, you are so fired. Then I got my new lawyer. He came back. He said the people are offering you 17 years. I said, I'm not taking no 17. 17, yeah, that's not no plea bargain. That's a long time, right? So the night before I went to court, I picked my son up from my baby mama's house, scooped my little man up, and just me and him went out. And I took him shoe shopping. KB Toy Store. Y'all remember KB Toy Store? It was still a thing. So I took him and I told him, get whatever toy you want. He ended up getting this Spider-Man mask and these little things that shoot silly string everywhere, right? We went and we ate dinner. We went to a Mexican restaurant. We sat down. We had Mexican that night. And I explained to him what was going on. As much as you can explain to a child that small, right? I said, I got to go away. And I'm going to be gone for a while. How long? For a while. And a child that small doesn't understand years, weeks, months. But I told him, I said, I got to get this over so that I can be your dad. If I don't go, I can't be your dad because I can't come see you. I can't come around. I got to stay gone, which is a true fact. They're looking for you at your family's house. They're looking for you at the baby moms, the girlfriends, the wife. Anybody that you got ties to, you better believe they're watching their phones. They're watching everything tied to that person, right? And my mind state at the time, I remember thinking this, man. I clearly remember. I got a friend named Mikey. Shout out to Mikey if you're watching. Mikey had a stepdad at the time named Ruben. Ruben had done time in Texas prisons, a Spanish guy, right? And he was from Mexico. And he would get locked up, do his time, get deported, and he would come straight back. And he told me when he found out that I was going to be going away, he said, you don't have to go away. You can go to Mexico. I don't know if I want to go be on the run in Mexico. I think I might just take my chance in U.S. prisons, right? But he told me, he said, look, I'm going to talk to my people. You're going to go to, to the West Coast. They're going to help you get across the, into Mexico. And the place you're going to be staying is not like what you're used to, Jay. Listen to what Ruben told me. He said, the floors, they're dirt. Okay, I can deal with some dirt floors. He said, this little place you're going to be in ain't got no power. Ain't got no power. Shit. All right, I can deal with no power. Ain't no running water. Now, the place is right off the Rio Grande that he was explaining to me. He said, you're going to have to, get your water and bathe and all that in the river right there. I'd heard about this, right? Like people bathing in it, using the bathroom in it, washing the animals in it. I'm not so sure that's where I want to get water from. Then he tells me there's no windows in this little building. You got shutters. He said, it's okay. You just got to watch out for the spiders. I ain't scared of no spider. Big ass spiders. All right, now I'm not going to Mexico. Yeah, you sealed the deal. You got the cartels. I'm a white dude that's tattooed up. Even before going to prison, I was pretty heavily tattooed. And so I'm going over there where I'm all tatted up, walking around the streets as a fugitive, looking like I'm part of some organization, dealing with spiders, dirty, polluted water. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. So I went on the court, got my time, and all I could think prior to that was, I can never have a normal life if I don't get this behind me. I'll go on to work whatever job I'm working, create whatever business I'm working, or create whatever business I create, get a family, a nice house, nice cars, and life will go back to normal, right? Until one day you're sitting there and the door comes off the hinges and the U.S. Marshals and ATF and the police come through the door, and you're stripped away from the family you created. You get me? You're stripped away from the people that are like needing you and that love you. And I couldn't have that happen. Not only to mention, like, I was guilty. I was guilty of what the people said I did. I committed that robbery. I did that. And in order to get my life back, I had to get it behind me. Now, in the beginning of this video, if you're just tuning in, thank you for checking in. Make sure you hit that subscribe and hit that like button one time for the one time. But if you didn't catch the beginning, I talked about different times and opportunities I had where I could have escaped. And I never did. And it wasn't because I was scared. I wasn't scared of like a manhunt or being on the run. I've done that. I've had manhunts for me. I've been on the run. I've had multi-state jurisdictions where they're looking for me. And I've been arrested in Philadelphia and flown back to Virginia. I've done all that. I've been to FOJ, fugitive justice, where I'm in one state and I'm being held because I'm wanted in another state and I've got charged. I've done all that. The thing is, once you're in and you're settled in and you're starting to do your time, I'm going to get this out the way. I'm going to get this out the way because this right here is going to keep me from going home for a long time. I think for a lot of these dudes, whether they realize it or not, what they've done, unless they don't have anybody out there, is very, very selfish. Your chances of kicking or pitching a ball with your little boy anytime soon have just went all the way out the window. If you ain't had but a couple years, guess what? You could have been home in time to do some of that. But now this escape, they're going to bless your ass. You done made a mockery of the judicial system. You done made a mockery of the jail and the police department, all these COs. So now when they get you, they're gonna drag your ass, and they're gonna punish you to the fullest extent of the law. Don't get yourself locked up, man. Do not do stupid shit to get yourself locked up. I've been doing these videos for over 5 years, right? Over 5 years I've been doing these videos, and the main purpose of all of this is to share my experiences and the things I went through. And I always try to lead people with a message, and I always want people to know this is not the life you want. You shouldn't be trying to escape. You shouldn't be in a situation where you can't go home. You're down bad when you've messed up to the point that you are no longer allowed to hang out with other people in society. You're deemed unfit. We do you just like an animal and put your ass in a cage. And now, not everybody that's in there deserves to be in cages. I met a man that was my last go around, a guy named Homer, that was in there for an open alcohol container 300 feet from his house. 300 feet from his house. The man wasn't drunk. The man wasn't intoxicated. But they ended up locking Homer up, putting him in there, and then they bonded him. I was going to do a video on this, but I'll go ahead and just share some of it, right? They bonded him. He drove this little, I think he said at the time he had a little red truck. So he's out on bond waiting to go to trial for this open alcohol container. It's a simple charge. He'd been in a lot of trouble back in the day, drinking related, but nothing. Now he's an old man. I think Homer had to be 70, if not a little bit older. And if he wasn't 70, then he was 68 or 69, something like that, right? So he's out on bond. He bonds out for this open alcohol container they made this big deal about because this little country ass town that he lives in. They would show up to his house, I think he said it was like 2 months later, and they would arrest him for vehicular homicide and fleeing the scene of a crime. Now he had this red truck I was telling you about. He has another car. He's got an older wife that can't walk. She's in a wheelchair. Somebody in that county sideswiped a man that was on the side of the road that I guess broke down. I don't know what the whole scenario was, but a driver comes along in a red vehicle and hits this man on the road and leaves him, and he passes away. The cops hear the description of the vehicle. They go to Mr. Homer's house. I'm not going to say his last name. They arrest him. They ask him where his truck is. His truck needs a clutch. So his truck has been towed to his brother's house in another county. Now he said, Jay, the truck was beat up. It had body damage. It had this and that, but I hadn't hit nobody. So they revoked his bond on the open alcohol container. They get him down to the magistrate's office. They go get the truck. They tow the truck only to find out this ain't the right vehicle. All these damages are old. This ain't the same person. Do you know once they revoked his bond because of the situation where the person got hit on the side of the road, that charge got thrown out. They came back and they dismissed the charges immediately. But now, because his bond had been revoked, they wouldn't re-bond him on the original charge. He sat in jail 8 months. 8 months for a Bud Light sitting in the console with the top off. 8 months. Check some comments out, man. Did I want to go home? Yes. I don't think there's nobody in there that don't want to go home. That doesn't just want a normal life again, man. I'm thankful every single day. I notice all the small things that people don't see. Driving in my car in the morning with coffee. Just having that coffee sitting in that cup holder and being in traffic. Hearing somebody else's music play, watching people walk down the streets, watching the birds fly overhead. I'm grateful. Watching my son ride his bike, or my wife get ready in the morning when she's standing in the bathroom, assed out, hair hanging, doing her makeup. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. These are the moments that we overlook because you just think that you're supposed to have them. That's supposed to be there. And they are. You're supposed to have these memories and these moments, but as quickly as you have them on a day-to-day basis, they can leave. They can be gone. Walter Worthington, thank you and salute, man. I do not know why this is acting like this. There we go. Alicia Harris, thank you and salute. Wesley Home Improvements. Wesley pulled up on me at the job one time, man. I think I told y'all that story real quick. Hold on. Let me grab Jay Willem real quick. So quick story on this guy right here. Wesley Home Improvements. A shout out to you, man, and much love. So I'm on hold on, that's actually PM. My bad, man. Let me go back up here. And we'll get to that comment in a minute. So Wesley, Home Improvements. You've been following, oh, it was Wesley. You've been following Diddy or Idaho College. You have to do Coburg. We'll get in that in a minute. Wesley pulls up on me. I had done a post one time on YouTube. And I guess I was on the job site. It's about 2 years ago. And you could see the number on the side of the house. Right? I'm sitting in my truck out front one day, and I can't really remember which truck I was in. But this guy pulls up beside me. Now, we're in the projects. We're in a bad part of Richmond. And he's looking at me. And I'm looking at him. And he's looking at me. I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, what's up with this dude, man? What is up with this dude? Why does this dude keep looking at me? And he like smiles a little bit. That breaks the tension. I roll the window down. What's up, man? You Jay Williams, right? No, that ain't what he said. He said, I knew this was the house. I knew. He said, man, I drove several hours thinking this is where you would be at. Now, is he friend or foe? Is this good or bad? He said, I got something for you, man. I had something made for you. And that's when he gave me Jay Willem. And I call him Jay Willem because it ain't got the S on it and the I is missing. But you know what? It makes it that much cooler. That's the Jay Willem wrestling buddy. Let's live life. Shout out to Wesley. Yeah, so don't think that I forgot about you. Let me see. Hold on. My son loves this thing, man. By the way, my son loves this thing. It's going to sound sad, but at the same time, when I went away, my son, he had this, man. And I know that's not dad, but he always thought it was cool to have this to tote around. So shout out to Wesley, man. Thank you, Jonathan Castano, for the membership. HR Paper Stacks, much love and salute. And Wesley said, you've been following Diddy or Idaho, the college thing with the dude, the people in the house. Yes, I'm following both. I'm going to start doing some of the Diddy input. I just want it to get a little further down the line. I don't want to be a bandwagon rider. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with doing Diddy content. I'm just saying I want to hear a little more as they get deep into the case. HR Paper Stack said, missed the last few lives, Jay. Glad I caught this one. Salute. Hey, thank you. Salute. Oren Smith. What's up, Jay? I'm a pool guy from Arizona. What type of filter do you have? And where's the podcast at? I have a sand filter. It's an in-ground pool. It's 20,000 gallons. A Hayward sand filter, Hayward chlorinator, and a Hayward, I want to say it's either a 3/4 or 1 horsepower pump running it. But it's a sand filter with the regular strainers. I don't know, man. I put everything in it and it stays murky. I'm ready to drain it and refill it. Joe Rogers said, Jay, you're a real one. Hey, salute, Joe. Michael Martinez, member for 4 months. Jay, what's up? Where you been? Salute from East Oakland. I've been busy. P with a super sticker. Hey, thank you, P, and salute. Try to get back down to the bottom, man. Trying to see how long have we been live now. Remove this, move from stage. I more or less just wanted to come in and have some fun with y'all, man. What color is the pool water? How's the pH? I worked at a pool store in the summers. What color is the pool water? It's a dark blue. It's not that crystal clear blue like it should be. I vacuumed it. I put Flocka in it. pH levels are alright. Alkalinity's alright. I'm not knowing, man. I'm thinking I'm really starting to feel like it's the sand filter. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the water and put it in a little jar and take it to the pool store and have them tell me, man. Tall Gray said, what's up, Jay? Salute. Hey, salute. Well, look, I love all y'all, man. That was it for the night. Just wanted this first time I've really done the screen share thing where we pull different things onto the screen. I had fun with it. I had fun with it, man. I feel like we could have done a lot more, but I'm not everybody else. I'm just me, and that's all I can be. But y'all have a great night. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you to everybody for showing up. I'm still trying to debate on whether the next video is going to be the full video on Preacher Man, the Booty Bandit, or the Prison Hit Squad. And I'll give you a little insight into the Prison Hit Squad, which is a crazy set of stories that was told to me from a good friend of mine named Sin. Shout out to you, Sin, if you're watching. I heard you came home. Salute, big bro. Sin did 9. And Sin pretty much broke down a whole bunch of stories about a bunch of different characters and how this prison had a lot of cell phones. And if you wanted to get at somebody, you no longer had to get at them if you had Cash App. You could just literally holler at this one dude in the pod, and he would send a text to another dude, and that dude would tell you how much it was going to cost for them to get at the guy you didn't like. Send that Cash App. Send that Cash App. Send that Cash App. You send the Cash App, and now this unsuspecting dude that you got beef with has got 3 hitters coming for him. When and whenever. Except it don't always turn out like you think it might turn out. What happens when the guy y'all go at can handle all 3 of y'all and then some? What happens when you think you're a savage but you run up against a real savage? You know, they say everybody's a gangster until a real gangster shows up. But I'm debating on that, on the Prison Hit Squad, or the story of Preacher Man, the Booty Bandit. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to come. When's it gonna come? I don't know. Just so y'all know, I have in my household alone, I don't know if you heard the baby earlier, we have a 1-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 7-year-old. 4 children in here. 4. And I'm the only man in the house. So I'm a busy man. And I'm always going to put my attention where it should be. And that's with the kids. And if you can't understand that, then you don't understand me. I love y'all, man. Y'all know how we do this. Anyways, these jails, these streets, these prisons are just crazier worlds inside of an already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. Just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And like always, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life. To all my real ones. And there are some real ones watching. Y'all still watching me. I know how we do it. Salute. Let's get up out of here. Y'all get on to y'all's night. Have a great night. Make the most of it. And ain't nobody told you lately, I love you.